It's a sunny day in the city of Mysuru, and Dhruti P is unstoppable. The 6-year-old is dancing to Kannada songs, trying to ride a scooter, watching Chhota Bheem on the phone, and lapping up sweets, while her mother looks on with a prayer on her lips. Hope Dhruti gets back to treatment soon. Dhruti suffers from a rare genetic disorder that affects 1 in 5 lakh newborns. It's called mucopolysaccharidosis 1, MPS 1 in short. Geneticist Dr. Minakshi Bhatt says this disease may leave a patient with an enlarged face, protruded tongue, clawed hands, abdominal extension, clouded eyes, and noisy breathing. Dhruti has all of these, but she also struggles to speak and hear, and last October, she was admitted in the hospital following a cardiac issue. Hers is a severe case of MPS 1 called Hurler syndrome. Diseases such as MPS 1 are not only rare, but they have no cure, only a variety of treatments that the patient needs to take lifelong to manage the symptoms, which can otherwise turn progressively worse and fatal.
Approximately the cost of a 10 kilogram child would be about 30 to 35 lakh equivalent per year. Certainly none of these treatments are covered by any private health insurance.
Cost of enzyme replacement therapy, which is what Dr. Bhatt spoke about, is so prohibitive that even the well-to-do can't afford it, let alone Dhruti's family, who is below the poverty line.
ಈಗ ಕೋವಿಡ್ ಬಂದು 6 ಮಂತ್ಸಿಂದ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಡ್ಯೂಟಿ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಆಗಿಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ. ಆದ್ರಿಂದ ಒಂದ್ ಕಡೆ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ ಇವಾಗ ಡಿಸೆಂಬರ್ 31 ಅಷ್ಟರಲ್ಲಿ ESI ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಮೆಡಿಸಿನ್ ಬರುತ್ತೋ ಇಲ್ವೋ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ.
Her husband used to work as a driver for a hotel, and since his layoff, he is no longer a beneficiary of Employee State Insurance Scheme, a government program that provides social security to those who earn less than 21,000 rupees per month. It was this scheme that was covering Dhruti's treatment costs at ESI Hospital in the neighboring city of Bengaluru since February last year. The pandemic has dealt a cruel blow to Shalini's family, as she tells us.
ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಕಾರಣ ಒಂದು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಮಗು ಈ ತರ ಇದೆ, ಇವಳನ್ನ ಉಳಿಸ್ಕೊಳಕ್ಕಾಗ ಅಂತ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಆಗಿ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ನನ್ನ ಹಸ್ಬೆಂಡ್ ನನ್ನಿಂದ ದೂರ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇವಾಗ ನಾನು ಸಿಂಗಲ್ ಮದರ್ ಅವಳಿಗೆ. ನಾನೊಬ್ಳೆ, ನಾನು ಮತ್ತೆ ನನ್ನ ಮಗು ಬೇರೆ ಮನೇಲಿ ಒಂದೇ ಮನೇಲಿ ಸಿಂಗಲ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ನಾನು ಮಾತ್ರ ಅವಳನ್ನ ನೋಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಅದರಿಂದ ನನಗೂ ಕೆಲ್ಸಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಕ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಇವಾಗ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ.
While their ESI health card expired in December, the ESI hospital had stopped providing treatment to Dhruti much before due to the non-availability of vials, Shalini alleges while showing us her medical diary. The treatment required Dhruti to travel from Mysuru to Bengaluru every week to take the enzyme replacement therapy, totaling to 4 doses a month. By that calculation, Dhruti has only received 13 doses out of 40, Shalini informs us. Shalini, her mother Usha, and sister Soumya say that the interrupted treatment has affected Dhruti's growth. She gets irritated easily these days and is also losing control on her bowel movements.
ಊಟನೂ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಯಿತು. ಕೈ ಕಾಲು ಈಗ ಮೊದಲಾದರೂ ಕೈ ಕಾಲೆಲ್ಲ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗೇ ಇತ್ತು. ಈಗ ಮಧ್ಯೆ ಗ್ಯಾಪ್ ಇರೋದ್ರೆ ಇದು.
When we approached one of the pediatric specialists at this ESI hospital who was overseeing Dhruti's case, he said he wasn't aware if there had been a break in her treatment, but went on to say anonymously some issues could have been there. There were COVID-19 challenges, delay in supplies because of that, and financial recurrence. It's a lifelong treatment. Missing 1 or 2 months of doses won't affect a person with a rare disease drastically. In fact, Dhruti's treatment should have started at 2 years of age and not at 6. Dr. Bhatt, who works at the Center for Human Genetics in Bengaluru, weighs in on the subject.
Miss a couple of doses, there's probably not going to be much of a difference. But if you miss treatment for say 6 months in a row continuously, I think you'll start seeing some symptomatology returning, and all this depends on what stage the child was at the start of treatment.
It must be mentioned that the ESI scheme has started covering rare disorders only in the last couple of years. And if you aren't a beneficiary of ESI or part of a charitable access program or resident of a state like Karnataka, which has set aside a separate budget for the treatment of rare disease patients, you have nothing to fall back on. India, which has recorded 450 rare diseases affecting up to 70 million people, doesn't yet have a law that governs their treatment. In 2017, the Union Ministry of Health and Family Welfare did formulate a policy, but that never took off because of the lack of clarity over how the centre and states would share the cost. Then last January, it released the draft of National Policy for Rare Diseases, but the patient advocacy groups have found it falling short on many counts. Prasanna Shirol from Bengaluru, who's assisting Shalini in this fight for her daughter's future, tells us more.
And in fact, the first policy was very good. It had a clear directive, the role between the central government and the state government. It was a 100 crore initial corpus budget, and there are clear-cut ideas what state government will do in short term and long term, what central government will do, and there was a rare disease cell constituted in the central government. So we had hope on that, but in the new policy, nothing was there. That's what we submitted our remarks and comments on that. One is there is a problem in diagnosis and delay in diagnosis, and there is no newborn screening policy because earlier the better. Then treatment for treatable diseases, supportive care for the non-treatable diseases. Then focus on clinical trial and research and development activity in India.
Since the national policy is still in works, Shirol plans to take Dhruti's ESI case to the Karnataka High Court, something he's done many times to help families of rare disease patients, including his. While Shirol is aware that Dhruti's treatment can be taken forward at the Indira Gandhi Institute of Child Health in Bengaluru, the only hospital to have a rare disease ward in the country, he feels accountability is important.
Right of life has been read into by the Supreme Court into Article 21. So, right to life is a fundamental right under the Constitution of India. That being the case, patients of rare diseases are definitely well within the four corners of law to seek help from the authorities for treatment.
Yes, health is a state subject, but Sudarshan feels the centre needs to do more for tertiary disease care and research in India.
Financially fairly strong families also cannot afford this treatment. So patients can avail any sort of treatment would be to fall back upon the government, which is a loco parentis. That is, it is the parent of all the citizens.
ಹೋಗೋಣಪ್ಪ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತೀಯಾ? ಯೂನಿಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಬೇಕಾ? ಬೇಕಾ? ಯೂನಿಫಾರ್ಮು ಸರಿ ಆಯಿತು, ಸೇರಿಸ್ತೀನಿ.
Now the family has their hopes tied to the judiciary to give Dhruti a better childhood and a second chance to go back to school, which she had to drop out of because of her deteriorating health.